Indiana GOP U.S. Senate candidate Richard Mourdock was debating Democrat Representative Joe Donnelly, and he was also debating Libertarian candidate Andrew Horning when the question of abortion came up. And, you know, all three of them agreed that they were against abortion. The Libertarian candidate basically argued that we should leave it up to the states. The Democrat said that he was against abortions, which is kind of surprising. However, Richard Mourdock argued that when a woman gets pregnant as a result of a rape, God intended for that to happen. In fact, let me read you his exact quote. He says, "The only exception I have to have an abortion is the case of the life of the mother." Okay, so he makes an exception for that. "I struggled with it myself for a long time, but I came to realize life is that gift from God. I think that even when life begins in that horrible situation of rape, that is something that God intended to happen."
Yeah. These guys are incredibly extreme. I don't think Americans are anywhere near this extreme. And people think, well, a Democrat can't win in Indiana. That's not true. First of all, President Obama won Indiana in 2008. He's not going to win it this time, but could a Democrat win in Indiana? Of course they could. And what they did was Mourdock took down Richard Lugar, a respected, they say, moderate Republican for a long time. Now, they say that because Richard Lugar used to be a moderate Republican 2 decades ago. Now, along with the rest of the Republican Party, he's gone more and more right-wing, but no matter how right-wing you get, it's not good enough. So they took him down and replaced him with Tea Party Richard Mourdock, who thinks if you got raped and you got pregnant, God intended for you to get raped and get pregnant. Well, that's a pretty cruel God, if you ask me. And if that happened to someone you love, whether it was your wife or your daughter or it could be anybody, or yourself, how livid would you be to have this guy say, no, you don't control your body, I control your body, even though I'm for small government. And, by the way, God intended for you to get raped and to get pregnant.
Now, he wanted to walk back his comments a little bit because of all the criticism he's been getting. So there is an update to the story. He says, "God creates life. That was my point. God does not want rape, and by no means was I suggesting that he does. Rape is a horrible thing, and for anyone to twist my words otherwise is absurd and sick." What I think is absurd and sick is the fact that he struggled a long time in terms of making a decision as to whether or not an abortion is right when a mother's life is at risk. You shouldn't struggle with that. If the mother's life is at risk, there's no question about it. And saying that God intended for you to get pregnant as the result of that rape is sick.
Now, look, I'm agnostic, so when it gets to any religious conversation about God's intentions, I just think we're in la-la land. You know, what did the Picard intend? I don't know what does that mean? So, but in this guy's crazy case, he says, no, you can't imply that I thought God intended the rape. God did not intend the rape, but God did intend for you to get pregnant and keep the kid. Well, I guess that really puts truth to God works in mysterious ways. How in the world would he intend you to get pregnant if he didn't want you to get raped? I mean, what, did he want you to have a consensual sex with your rapist? But what do you mean? I mean, this is crazy, trying to divine the will of God. But what's even crazier is that the rest of us have a conversation about should we listen to what crazy Richard Mourdock thinks God thinks. Well, if Mourdock thinks that God intends this, well, then that should be our law. Oh, hell no, that shouldn't be our law. Well, our law should be based on logic and reason. And this guy should be run out of town. I can't believe it's the year 2012, and we're having a conversation. Not only are we having a conversation with these guys, they're winning in a lot of states. And if you're a woman and you vote based on that, you're nuts.
Yeah, you know what I think about you.
Yeah, and when you do, and when you get stuck in that situation, you know, you're going to say, well, I didn't know it was applied to me. I thought it was going to be applied to what, right? To the loose women, to the women who weren't religious or more. Oh my God, but me, I got raped. What was I supposed to do? Well, you weren't supposed to vote for Richard Mourdock, who says that you have to keep that baby. And think about this, one last thing about this. If it is illegal for you to get an abortion, if you get one after you've been raped, there's an excellent chance that you will be thrown in jail. Can you imagine?
It's not even far-fetched. This is something that's already happening. Rennie Gibbs from Mississippi, she got prosecuted because she gave birth to a stillborn. Okay, pro-lifers, went into her history, found out that she had a history of drug use, and without any evidence indicating that she was using drugs while she was pregnant, they prosecuted her, and she faced prison time as a result of that. Okay, get out of her personal life. There's absolutely no evidence indicating that she delivered a stillborn baby because she was taking drugs. I mean, her drug use was from years ago.
They're nitpicking your lives. They want to control your bodies. It's not a talking point. It's reality. And when you wake up to that fact one day, it might be too late. 3/4 of this country believe that abortion should be legal. The Republicans have every single intention to make it illegal. And they tell you that every day, and all they need is one more Supreme Court justice. And the way they get that is a Republican president and Republican senators to confirm. You give it to them, then don't come crying to us like, oops, I didn't know it was going to apply to us. Yeah, I didn't know they were going to do that. How clear do they have to be? They're going to do it.